think we'd be safe from it all in the skies. But guess what? That's not happening. Some are flying thousands of miles above. Here are some instances where people encountered things and creatures born out of their wildest dreams.
Go! Go!
Well, this is one way to get your attention. I mean, even if we think this is some sort of human and not, well, an alien, the idea of a flying man is still crazy. I mean, what is this, Krypton? Of course not. And yet to see something like this on Earth, no matter what you think, it's mind-boggling. And obviously, ever since this video was first uploaded, the internet has been ablaze with theories. People wondering if Superman is real, if it's some sort of scientific experiment, all the work. Except we've never really had a conclusion, and who knows? This guy might still be flying up there somewhere. Paraiba's flight. Watch what one tourist captured from their hotel in Paraiba. There, high up in the clouds, passed a figure that we would have missed if it weren't for this keen-eyed tourist. I mean, seeing a winged creature take flight isn't an everyday thing, especially when it's clearly not a bird or anything we've ever seen before. The cameraman wholeheartedly believes this is an angel caught accidentally. But netizens have a couple of fun theories too. Like how it could be a gargoyle or something like that. Welp, I'll head out. Angelicia.
Look, look, look.
The next time you're feeling down in the dumps, just look up to the skies. You might spot a guardian angel up in the sky. Nope, I'm not kidding. Somewhere in Brazil, a woman captured two angelic figures, ducking behind the clouds as if they weren't aware they were being filmed. With clear humanoid shapes, these figures are prompting many to wonder what angels look like in reality. Do they always look like this? Or are they simply changing silhouettes when we're not looking? Silver lining. As a rookie pilot was training high up in the clouds, he noticed an unusual figure ducking behind the clouds. If it weren't for his high-quality camera, nobody would have believed this actually happened. But take a look for yourself. Doesn't that look like an angel? And I know we've come to normalize angelic visuals like this. We think they're humanoid with wings. But what if this was an angel that's purposely disguising itself as a humanoid to blend in with us? Who knows? It might be keeping an eye from above. Seraphim's return. Many people have reported seeing Seraphim over the years, but we haven't really been able to get any proof until now. This is believed to be Seraphim, presumably having visited Earth a couple of hours before this video was taken. Many believe the angel was returning to heaven, while others think our skies are filled with angelic beings all the time, and that we managed to capture this one by pure coincidence. Well, whatever route we're taking, it's pretty concerning to see an angel out in the open. Nicaragua's visitor. Somewhere in the streets of Managua, Nicaragua, there lives a creature that's rumored to be an alien. You think I'm pulling your leg? Check this out. With horribly whirring wings, this alien being is said to have landed on Earth a couple of years ago, but vanished just before people could capture it. However, now and then, when people least expect, this creature makes an appearance, perhaps to rile them all up, or to warn them of incoming doom. The only concerning thing is why nobody has said anything. I'd say they're pretty terrified. Gryffindor. If you've been keeping up with Harry Potter or are simply a mythical fan, you might be familiar with the legendary Griffin. a creature half a lion and half an eagle, ruling the skies with an iron fist. But of course, we all believe the griffin doesn't really exist, or does it? See, this is what a tourist captured in Greece. That's right, the very place where the myth of the griffin is believed to have been born centuries ago. They say the country is secretly breeding griffins, and the only reason we haven't noticed is because it's all hush-hush. Grim Reapers return. No matter what you believe in, there's one thing that shakes everyone to their core. The idea of no longer living. And what could solidify that idea more than the Grim Reaper? The dark, grisly figure that's rumored to take your soul for eternity. And as much as I thought the Grim Reaper was just a crazy idea, one Broomfield resident captured this. And let's just say, I'm grabbing my prayer beads. If the Grim Reaper is this visible, it can only mean one thing. Somebody's going up soon, but we've got no way to guess who. Ghost Riders. If you've watched Teen Wolf, you'll recognize the Ghost Riders, a group of demonic human riders who appear in the sky, riding their horses over the clouds. And like you, I also thought this was just a fictional story, but after what took over the skies a couple of months ago, I'm beginning to question my sanity. These ghostly horses pretty much terrified the onlookers, who couldn't help but watch as they screamed. The video cuts off, so we don't know what happened, or where exactly this was filmed, but it's safe to say, we should be glad we weren't there. Dementors Fall. Yeah, from the title, you wouldn't know what to expect, except this is every bit exactly what's been described. Dementors are mythical creatures from the Harry Potter world. But after this anomaly dropped down, people are beginning to wonder if J.K. Rowling was inspired from reality. But what on earth is this? Since it's clearly got a physical form, people know this isn't just smoke or some sort of ghastly plume. It's also not debris. Otherwise, the impact would be much, much harder. It looks like this is one case where you'll have to believe in the world of magic. Cloud Surfer. What if the one we've been waiting for the most has already arrived and is simply masking themselves? You know who I'm talking about. And after you see what one tourist captured, you'll begin to think along the same lines. Now, I'm not saying this Cloud Surfer is a divine incarceration. It could be some mysterious humanoid capable of walking on clouds. But let's hope whoever this is decides to stay up there, because you never know how people will react once they find out the truth. Divine Being. All around us are signs, and you'll notice the truth if you only look a little closely. This rather godlike apparition appeared over Thailand a couple of years ago, floating in a slightly intimidating way, as if scanning the entire world above. Here's another angle, and you can clearly see this is more than just clever CGI. There's a high chance this is real, especially considering all the weird and mystical things that keep happening all around us. Some believe this is Jesus, but others think it could just be a different divine apparition. As for me, I'll leave it up to you. Drogonian Nightmare. A couple of weeks ago, a private airline was testing out its latest plane when one of its monitoring cameras caught something. There in the back, a creature we've come to believe only exists in myths and storybooks. It's so realistic that you'd almost believe it's fake. That's how mind-boggling it is. But if we think about it, dragons have always ruled the skies. And if there's a chance they exist, who's saying they have to live on the ground? Maybe this dragon has always been up there, but the airplane simply captured it because it was caught up in the wrong workspace. The ultimate troop. We've been so busy with the idea of alien invasions that we've completely forgotten aliens have already arrived. That's right, and we aren't talking about this year, but several years ago. You see, in 2019, the skies over Bolivia were taken over by a strange object, an obvious craft of some sort, with an unusual shape floating ominously in the air. But it wasn't alone. Just at the distance, you could spot two smaller crafts, perhaps pods of some sort. People initially chalked it off as some strange kite, or maybe an unknown surveillance craft. But what if they were alien spaceships? They'd already be living among us, and we wouldn't even know. Air trouble. Yeah, no matter how you try to explain this one, you won't find an answer. You see, when one airplane passenger filmed and uploaded this, they simply thought it was a jet's contrails. But of course, netizens had other ideas. You see, we're seeing more and more mysterious creature take to the skies every day. So many think this contrail could actually be an alien biological entity. Perhaps it got lost in space and wound up stuck in Earth's atmosphere. Or maybe we've been so occupied with the idea of aliens, we've forgotten how some things can visually fool us. Wizz Air Wonder. You'd think turbulence would be the worst thing to experience on a plane, but when you see something like this, maybe it's time to reconsider. I can imagine the fear the cameraman must have felt. There he was, hoping for a calm flight, and then sees something that you could only akin to the Grim Reaper. And sure, this could be the exhaust smoke, but something about the way it moves tells me it's sentient, as if it's planning something sinister, and knew it was being watched, so it ducked out of view. The Chinese Wrath.
Where the hell did you find that thing?
Dragons. They're a thing of the myths, aren't they? Well, alright, I know what you're going to say. Dragons aren't real, and this is probably just fake. Well, record scratch. That's wrong. This dragon-like creature was spotted flying somewhere in China. And if you know anything about the Chinese, you know they've always been involved with dragons. Now I'm beginning to think Chinese stories and legends about dragons were true all this time. What if dragons were never legends but actual creatures, being bred by China in secret? We wouldn't know. Until they decide to pull a Daenerys Targaryen. Angelic Glimpse. Angels aren't what they seem like. You'd think it's just a humanoid with wings. But if you're being accurate, well, this is what they look like. Now the rumor is that this angel was spotted by a passenger flying near the Alps, but we're not sure if that's really the case. CGI is quite the rage nowadays, so this could very well be that. But at the same time, I wouldn't put it past anything. This could pretty much be real. And if that's the case, it's pretty terrifying to say the least. Phoenix's Tail.
There's another one there. Look at what is that?
Meet the Phoenix, a bird born from Greek lore, believed to live and regenerate, and thus being immortal. It's also described in legends to glow bright, as if it were covered head to tail in light. And here's a look at this supposedly mysterious creature. Well, if it's flying over our skies, what does it mean for us? The phoenix usually represents the end and beginning of life. Some believe seeing a phoenix means you're really close to meeting the Grim Reaper, while some cultures believe it signals the end of times. But don't worry. Considering this phoenix was spotted accidentally, there's a high chance this was just one rare mythological legend caught off guard.
How is it? That is insane. Look, it's just disappeared.
Manananggal. The Manananggal is a Philippines mythical creature with a hideous, half-humanoid, half-bat-like body. This ghastly creature appears close to evening, hoping to find a meal by the time night falls. Like many mythical creatures, the Manananggal has long been rumored to be a rumor to scare kids off. But here's a glimpse at the creature's alleged sighting. Although it could be a bat, it's pretty unusual to see them during the day, especially when they're this freaking big. How would you react if you saw something like this while driving to work? Honestly, this is clearly something that would put you off work for a long time. But when this mystery creature appeared positioned in the sky in Vietnam, firefighters stepped in hopes of finding out its identity. As much as they tried to prod and reach it, they were unable to. And the video cut off too quickly for us to tell what happened. Which brings us to this. What if this was some crazy creature that's purposely being kept away from our eyes? Utopia. Pegasus aren't real. Or are they? What if the Pegasus were very much real and simply flew up to the sky? After all, how hard is it to believe a horse with a horn that's also got wings? It's not the craziest idea out there. Now, I don't know who filmed this. The video was uploaded anonymously and was soon taken down. But luckily, someone else had saved it before it got deleted. But the way the video's been dealt with tells me there's something up. What if there's someone around us? Perhaps the authorities? Who knows about the existence of such creatures and simply doesn't want to veil them? Clouded faith. A couple of months ago, tourists in Hawaii were graced by an unexpected sight. A silhouette matching that of Jesus Christ, positioned just over the raging waves. Now I know we've seen clouds look like things before, but this isn't just a cloud. Although the video cuts off quickly, the same silhouette was rumored to have floated slowly above the sky moments later, which tells us, whatever this being is, it's clearly sentient and possibly even divine, even if you don't think that's the case. Airborne ghoul.
What is that? Carrie, what is that?
It's not unusual to see contrails when you're in an airplane, but when the supposed contrails begin behaving weirdly, that's where you realize something is definitely up. Kerry Farides was flying somewhere over the Aegean Sea when he and his wife captured this unusual smoky object. Now I know you and I are quick to say it's just that, but you can clearly see it flying parallel to the plane. If it really was a smoke trail or something like that, it wouldn't have survived the height and the air pressure. Could this really be some sort of ghoul that loves to stay mid-air? It's crazy, but trail off.
Don't move me.
Metamorphosis. You can say you've seen angels, but can you ever say you've seen something like this? This angel was caught on top of a mountain by a passing tourist, and what we're about to see is simply mind-blowing. If you've got any doubts about the diving being's authenticity, here it is clearly changing its shape, which many believe is actually the angel changing and traveling to and from different dimensions, appearing like this only because of the camera. Even if you were to say this isn't an angel, what else could it be? Ghostly stalker. That's not just the jet plane and jet exhaust's water vapor, although it very much looks like one. But see a little closely and you'll realize it's something far spookier than it lets on. You see, there's a theory that ghouls and weird spooky creatures live somewhere in the sky, usually away from human sight. And now and then, they're spotted by airplane passengers. But because nobody really knows how to interpret it, they think it's just a contrail. But the way it's moving, keeping up with the airplane, you can't help but wonder if it's actually animate. CERN's play.
You seen that come out of the clouds?
This looks like something CERN would cook up. I mean, how else do you explain this? For all those who think this is just a meteor, it doesn't look like a very convincing one, since I'm pretty sure they don't just move like that. And if you've been keeping up with the trends, you might have heard about one conspiracy theory. You know, the one that says CERN is working on something sinister to force the entire world to bow down to a secret leader who has yet to come. For a long time, I also thought this was just child's play, but seeing this, I don't know what else to do except believe. Starstruck. If it weren't for the plane flying above, you'd think this was just a sea star in the ocean. But nope, that's very clearly in the sky. Now right off the bat, I think this isn't normal. I'm no meteorologist, but I'm sure the skies aren't filled with things like this. And here's a closer look. It isn't just star-shaped. This seems like a group of 5 different spacecraft, all tying close to each other in order to mimic a star. Even if we pretend this is some sort of government project, wouldn't it have been announced by now, seeing as this video's going viral? It really seems like this could be something that's entirely out of this world. Jingle bells. Here comes Santa Claus. Now I know we've all experienced that pain. The moment you find out Santa Claus isn't real. But what if, somewhere down the line, he really did exist? Watch what one resident in Ireland captured on a silent night just before Xmas. That's right. Nobody could ever confuse this big fellow. Now some have said this could be CGI, but after all that we're seeing in the world, aliens and UFOs, and God knows what, is it really hard to believe in flying reindeers? I'd even say they make much more sense than anything else. Port of trouble. Do you ever just look up at the sky and wonder if it's hiding secrets? Things that are there, but we're unable to see because they're, well, so high up we can't reach. But now and then, airplane passengers are lucky enough to witness things they wouldn't otherwise. Like this mysterious portal that's supposedly up there somewhere. To be fair, if I had access to a portal, I would also position it somewhere out of reach. And maybe that's exactly what the aliens, which pass through it now and then, have been doing. For them, it's an easy way to visit Outworld without being detected. Mid-air mayhem.
Look, it's just floating. Like, seriously.
Now and then, life throws such surprises at you, you begin to question your sanity. And that is what would have happened to this guy if he didn't have his phone. The shock of seeing an inanimate object like a broomstick high up in the sky is enough to make you slam the brakes. But how on earth could this happen? Is this some sort of voodoo magic? Well, it could be that, or it could be some crazy scientific coincidence, like the wind crossing it at such an angle that it keeps the broomstick afloat. But where's the fun in that?
There's no wire, there's nothing it's connected to, it's...
Sky Streaker.
Wow. What's that? I have no idea.
If Superman's taught us anything, it's that anyone can fly, as long as they've been born with superpowers. And that's exactly what keeps most of us on the ground. Most of us. When this mystery streaker was first spotted a couple of years ago, most witnesses assumed this was some crazy movie stunt, or maybe